Thank you.
There you go.
No, sir. I was about to do it for you, dude.
And take one.
There's more set up by Collins.
Move on Kenyon. Hard foul by Jason Collins. Transition defense. Huge.
Oh, another gorgeous feed. This time Jefferson, the recipient, as Collins put it in there perfectly. The way he phrased it was the Nets get too many easy baskets on backdoor cuts, on fast breaks.
Transition defense. Huge.
Oh, another gorgeous feed. This time Jefferson, the recipient, as Collins put it in there perfectly.
We used to love to run the fast break. Obviously, you have J. Kidd, you have Terry Kidd, you had Vince, you had guys who could get up and down the court very quickly. Most of the time, those guys would beat us to the low block. We had a rule sometimes where our wings would go and sometimes they would cross, or they had the option to stop and then spin back and post up. And that would either be Richard or VC who would do that. If the low post is occupied by someone and you're a weak side big, you immediately flash high to do two things there. One, make yourself an outlet, but then also it makes it easier to do a lob pass into them. I'm trying to bring my defender up with them. When I catch the ball at the high post there, I'm looking to make a pass. And just from playing with Vince, with Richard, they know that as well. So they, on that play, it was RJ spun off, easy lob. And that's the great thing about Vince and Richard in particular, also with another teammate, Kenyon Martin. They were so athletic that if you put the ball, it doesn't need to be perfect, the pass. You just need to put it somewhere near the rim and they will do the rest.
Transition defense. Huge.
Oh, another gorgeous feed. This time Jefferson, the recipient, as Collins put it in there perfectly.
He had not shot the ball well, but each game getting a little better. George Lynch was hardly shot. It appeared somebody in a technical foul, somebody on the Nets bench was yelling at George Lynch when he took the shot. Lynch said something back to the Nets bench, and he was hit with a technical foul. I thought I heard a big scream when he was shooting the jumper from the corner.
Exactly right. Joe Crawford was right there. I don't know what was said or who said it, but see Michael Corn, one of the assistant coaches, leaning over now, telling his players, chill out.
There's a couple of things there. The first thing is when I heard the name Joe Crawford, the legendary, famous NBA referee. I remember playing a game in Dallas, and Joe called a foul on me. So I start walking towards him, and I was like, hey, Joey, I'm not even like raising my voice. I want to start a conversation with him. Technical. For just saying, hey, Joey. Just to saying his name. So it doesn't surprise me that Joey called that technical, okay? Joey loved to call technicals. The second thing that comes to mind is you can always impact the game even when you're not in the game. So if a play is happening right in front of you like that with George Lynch shooting that jump shot, there's nothing against the rules of yelling and screaming. Maybe you don't, and we were all seated. So it wasn't like someone was like jumping up or down. And also what I would do sometimes, especially later on in my career as a veteran, I might actually yell to my teammates, hey, watch out, because it looked like in that position we were also in a zone. And most of the times when you're in a zone, you're watching the ball. It helps if your teammates on the bench are saying, there's a cutter behind you, there's somebody running baseline. So using your voice, even if you're on the bench, I, as a fan of basketball, when I go to my nieces and nephews' basketball game and they're playing zone, I'm that uncle who's like yelling, baseline cutter, I'm actually, yelling, I hope that the teammates should be doing that, but heck, I'll do it. I still do it to this day.
You could hear a scream from across the court where we are.
See, I don't even know if it was me. It could have been me, but we'll never know who it was who was talking to him. I'm going to throw Brian Scalabrine under the bus on that one. We had a lot of guys who were talkers, which is a good thing. Again, it's better to over-communicate.
Thomas, one-on-one move on Kenyon. Hard foul by Jason Collins, and Thomas hits the deck hard.
Oh, yeah, that was my bad. And we were up by 20? Damn. That's my fault.
Before I see it on replay, Mike, I don't I don't think that was a flagrant at all.
No, it was a flagrant. I love the commentator. I don't think it was a flagrant. No, it was a flagrant. My job as the center, when the opposing team came into the paint, my goal was one of three things: a block, a charge, or a hard foul. So I went over there with the intention of, in that case, it was going to be a hard foul. Because Tim already got in the air, and when he jumped, he's a much higher jumper than me. I meant to get his arms, but because he was so high, I ended up getting him by the shoulder. And it was a collision. And again, my goal was never to hurt somebody, but my goal was also no layups, no dunks. And the only person who that rule did not apply to, who I really tried to stop, was Shaquille O'Neal, but somehow he still found a way to put me and everybody else in the basket. So, I led one of my years in the league, I led the league in fouls. Like, I was one of those guys who, I was a physical basketball player. Like when you go on the basketball court, you can be a different person. Like I love to laugh and joke, but when I cross that line, like my mouthpiece is in, usually my wrists are taped. Like I'm ready for, contact out there. And there's always the rule, which I tell my niece and nephews that it's better to hit somebody first than to get hit and then you respond, because referees usually catch the second person.
Antonio just liked the way this team was put together and felt he could be a big piece to the puzzle. Yao on a turnaround. Good defense by Collins, who closed in.
Yao Ming is one of the only people, even like when I see him, that I feel short next to. Most people, even like Shaq, who's a little bit taller than me, and a few other guys, there's a difference between someone who's like 7'1", 7'2". No, but Yao, I'm like little kid, like looking up at hey, how's it going up there kind of thing. What most people do with me, like I do to Yao. And a lot of people don't realize also Yao was very strong, especially lower body. Like if he got position on, it was not easy to move him off the block. He was another guy that you definitely had to hit first. Sometimes you can do little tricks as far as when someone shoots it and you're not necessarily trying to foul him, but you are trying to just graze his upper arm or elbow in a way that might be considered a foul, but it's like a light foul.
And short.
Good defense there from Collins to close out.
There's a lot of gamesmanship in that. And again, back then, the referees let a lot of contact like that go. Nowadays, they pretty much call that every single time.
McGrady. Low post. Yao, frustrated. Loses his footing and loses the ball.
People don't like physical contact, like getting hit repeatedly. And especially if the referees are gonna let you play like physical like that, you keep doing it. And it'll be frustrating. And then also when you get someone to that level of frustration, then you've already set them up to flop on them. Well, or I should say, to take a charge on them because they're gonna get frustrated with all the physical contact. And again, they're gonna be the one that's gonna respond and get caught by the referees. So I was always one of those guys, I would hit, but also in the back of my mind, like, okay, if they take the bait, like I'm ready to fall down as well, kind of thing. And then look at the refs, like, what did I do? Look what he did.